Hello everyone and welcome to the first edition of the Peak Podcast, brought to you by Coast Road Studio. This will be an ongoing podcast that me and Luke will be bringing to the area, highlighting some special guests that I want to bring on, talking all things training, nutrition, habits, goal setting, all of that good stuff. So as always, I will be joined by Luke, and then as our first guest today, I'm buzzing to announce Matty Green, head coach and owner of Cumbria Strength. So how are we doing, lads?
All good, mate. Yeah, thank you. Privileged to be on the first one.
Yeah, mate, it's good. I feel like we've been speaking about doing something like this for a long time.
Yeah,
like it's good to sit down and finally bash heads. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like a lot's been going on since we've started. Do you know what I mean? Since we got to know each other.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, me and Luke have started Peak in the last year. You seem to be marching on with the gym. And that was quite a good pun, that actually.
I know, yeah.
I did intend that, but how's it going, mate? What's new? Tell us about
good.
it.
So obviously we've been going now for, this year is our 9th, so close to a decade now as a gym. And we've just found ourselves in a place where we wanted to change things up. We feel like we were one of, if not the first gym around here to do the how functional type stuff. Back in 2015, and then now obviously that's taken hold massively. You've seen obviously like the commercial gyms which have got their functional areas and stuff like that, which is here to stay. Let's face it, like we all need to train for longevity purposes, but we came to a little bit of a crossroads and thought now is a time to kind of change our model a little bit. We're keeping kind of large group classes. Obviously we do a lot of hybrid high rocks training, but we've kind of moved more into where we see the industry going in terms of being able to coach, not just instruct people. So the way we've done it for the past almost decade is obviously, here's the whiteboard, this is what we're doing today, which is okay, it's fine, but it's not very personal to each person. So each person coming through the door, as you know, will have a different set of goals. Every single person.
Have you found you've had more engagement doing it that way, sort of? Yeah,
it's obviously new. So the members who've been with us for a while, it's different to them. And you know, with change, everyone's got to change routines, got to change what they do. But when it comes to the sessions themselves, so like let's say today was squat day. So we'd have a program laid out for the week, and that won't change. That'll kind of ebb and flow as we move. But for instance, today's squat day. Well, if I get you two in, you may have two different sets of goals. You might want to get strong. You might want to put some muscle on. So your squat pattern, and dependent on your ability, your training age, your squat pattern is going to be completely different. You may have ankle issues. You might need to put some blocks underneath your feet. Your sets, reps, tempos, rests, they're going to change as well. So it'll be on me as a coach to make sure I'm giving you what you need right now.
Specifically,
Make sure you're happy with that. You buy into that. You understand that this is why I'm giving you what I'm giving you. And then that's going to help you get to your goals much quickly.
I feel like since obviously you started training, obviously cut open the gym in the area, functional fitness has probably took like more of a mainstream approach now. Not obviously on social media in general. I think more people have been opening their eyes to the actual different training modalities you can get. More accessible for everyone. Like you say, the importance of training for longevity. That's something me and Luke are reinforcing ourselves as well.
100%. I think COVID brought a big part of that. I think people actually started thinking about health over that time, and all of a sudden it was always about getting big, looking good. As I think COVID now brought a different side to it, where people actually now think about health a lot more than what they did before COVID. Definitely, I think that's a massive.
It's being mindful, isn't it, of like what are you training for? Like for me, I'm always, well, Matty will know. So for those of you who don't know, I started training with Matty. What was it, 2014?
You came in
15.
One of the first foundation
courses.
I think it was when we opened. 2015.
And you obviously opened my eyes to the world of S&C, so probably why I'm sitting here doing what I'm doing now. So that's many thanks to you as well.
No worries.
But that opened my eyes to like how athletes should train, and then the more I've like delved into it myself and obviously speaking to other coaches, it's like I always needed a goal. Fight. I always used to think I was never ready to fight sometimes. Like always, and I did it just because I need to be doing something or I'll never stick in the gym. And I loved it. Yeah. But I feel like now that I've shifted and what I'm trying to instill in some people as well, I'm training. My goal for training now is so I can function when I'm 70, 80, 90. Yeah. That is genuinely the aim. I don't care about, obviously I still care about competition, but that's not the main focus. I want to be walking and maybe running when I'm 70, 80. I know that sounds daft, but people run marathons at 99, 100. So that, it's not, doesn't it? It's like, number, isn't it? No, but people treat it as a number, not to do anything. Like my dad's the world's worst example. He gets to 63 and he's like, I can't do that, I'm old, I've got a bad back. I'm like, no, like,
you still can. It's
more of a reason to do it. So I feel like the more people are now instilling that in the mind, that is the goal. I feel like people are more sticking to it, which enhances like why they need a program or a coach or some sort of guidance. Because like we say, like the way that the fitness industry is going at the minute, everyone on Instagram's jacked. Everyone on Instagram's in shape 24/7. It's not feasible. The hybrid, it's not feasible. It's not realistic. They're all on steroids, most of them, that are in shape 24/7. And that makes people it hard work to start. They're scared to go to gyms because they might be out of shape. They're scared of looking a certain way. Like I know some of the fittest people I know do not look like half the people you see on Instagram, but it's all a facade, isn't it? It's like you should be judged on what you're capable of, not what you look like. And I feel like that's become more of like, especially in our area, I feel like most people are buying into that side of things now. Because of the likes of what we've got going on here, which is pretty good for a small town. It seems like it's taken off quite a bit, the traditional bro splits and stuff like that.
I think when I first came here, and obviously I'm not from this area, so it was everyone was new to me. I didn't really have a friendship base where I could like say, lads, come and get to my gym, and then just start spreading the word. And it was very bodybuilder centric. You know, that's what it was
back in the 90s.
Well, even
early 2000s,
mid 2000s, that's what it was. It was still very bodybuilder stuff. So when the lads started coming in, and we were doing different type, getting their bodies moving, it wasn't static. It wasn't in a machine. It wasn't, they had to move their bodies. It was like, what's this? Some liked it, and some were like, no, not for me. But as it's progressed, and like you say, time's gone on, people are starting to realise that I need to get my shit sorted because I keep getting shoulder issues, I keep getting knee issues, I can't move very well.
Can't scratch your back.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's very quickly now. I'm approaching 40 years old, and it's like my peer group have come, and a lot of my friends they'll be messaging me saying, Matty, all right, I need some help now. Do you know what I mean? Like we're getting to that point now where those things that you never thought had happened to you. And we're going a bit morbid, but things like type 2 diabetes, cancers, like my friends are starting to get them. Some of them. And people we know as well. And it's like, it's not just about the training, it's everything else you've got to put into it as well. The nutrition, the sleep, the recovery.
Put the foundations in, isn't it?
Yeah. So rocking up Monday, back and buys, smashing, broccoli and chicken. It's not sustainable.
No, it's not. No one can stick to it.
You don't want to do that.
It's not enjoyable though either.
No.
You don't want to live your life just eating broccoli and chicken, do you, really? Let's be honest.
And, you're not getting those nutrients that the body needs for health. And then it's just going to not be sustainable. You're not going to get where you want to get to. You won't be lifting what you want to lift. You'll be finding you're getting little niggles where you're getting, you never used to before. So we've got to kind of almost slow the aging process down because it's coming to everybody. We've got to slow it down as much as possible. And do what you can. And I say this, it's the stuff I train for. So I've got my immediate short-term goals, and I see them as like, in terms of performance, 1 to 3 years. But then I've got my long-term goals where it's like, right, how am I going to move when my grandkids are in front of me? Like, the main thing for me is, will I be able to, if it ever happens, would I be able to get them out of danger like that? And if I can't move well, I saw someone sent me a video of this woman pushing a pram, clearly a grandma, CCTV footage. She's pushing a pram, she falls over, and the pram is just hurtling towards this road in America, and it's like, that baby's going to die.
Yeah.
And she tries to get up and she falls down. She can't get up. She
Yeah.
just couldn't get up. And that might have been her grandkid.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
luckily, someone jumped in and got it. But it's like, if that's not a wake-up call, if I need to get my shit together,
100%.
then what is?
Yeah, exactly. You don't know when you need to be strong and fit until it happens.
Yeah,
You need to be strong and fit.
Like
sometimes.
tragedies can happen, and if you could get ill. If you're not strong and fit, you're not going to survive it, or it might make you a lot worse. Your condition's a lot worse because of it. Like you seen that with COVID, didn't you? It was like,
Yeah.
and then a lot of people did maybe die from it, but it wasn't probably that caused it. That's a whole other subject. But do you know what I mean? It was the lifestyle outside of that made it into more of a thing than it probably was for them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like that the more everyone focuses on just instilling that healthy approach, because when you look at people that have never been in a gym before, or like you say, everything on Instagram's like, oh, you want to look a certain way, you need to get up at fucking 5 a.m. in the morning, you need to see sunlight straight away, you need to do an ice bath, you need to do this. It's fucking bollocks, mate.
Yeah.
It's not relatable.
No,
though,
it's
either.
not, because
And
if
it's overwhelming for people.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and if
it is.
someone's in your ear saying that, it's like, well, I can't do that. I work shifts, I've got kids, I've got... Dumb it down and make it more applicable to the masses, and then you'll see a greater improvement in everyone's well-being, I think.
Yeah.
But it's honed into you so much for that business side. They're all entrepreneurs that do that. They're all millionaires. They weren't doing that.
They're all selling products.
Yes,
There's all this biohacking.
They weren't doing that when they were making the money. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
They'll have been up at 5. They'll have been straight in the office. They'll have been grafting away and making the millions. Now they can sit back and do that. We unfortunately can't, can we? So
we've got to do the hard graft.
Yeah.
But we also have to focus on the basics.
Exactly.
The easy ones that we can all control: water intake, sleep, and the amount you move during a day. Like, you can control that. You might go to you might say that, okay, I get up, I go to work, I sit down, I go home. You've still got time to move. You've
100%.
just got to want to find that time to move.
Yeah.
And not just because you want to find it, you need to find it.
It's breaking it down at that simple level, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
I think I remember hearing a quote. I think it was Ross Esley said that you want to treat your body as a tool rather than an ornament, which is a really good quote in the sense of it's all right looking good, but if you can't do day-to-day activities, then it's pointless, really.
Yeah.
In that sense, I know there was I own a B&B as well, but we had a fella that stayed with us, and he basically was overweight, he was obese, and he must have been about 20 to 25 stone. And all he'd done was he'd gone out to get a taxi, and our B&B's on a hill, and he'd just lost his footing, and he'd fallen over. He just couldn't get up, physically couldn't get up. I ended up staying with him for 30 minutes just because he was trying to get up, and because he was that unfit, he didn't have the energy to lift himself up onto his knees and actually stand up. And you think about that there's people out there that are basically, they can't, if they fall over, they can't physically get up because of that overweight, or like you were saying, they've got arthritis, things that, or just don't have the energy to do things like that. It's just crazy that people can get into that sort of issues, really.
It's when you look at it as well, like when we, on the program that we do at the minute, one of the things that we do is like, we'll do like a step goal target.
Yeah.
Again, just to get people to move more. Some people like that might have done the program with us and might not to get all the workouts we program in that week. But once they start being more mindful of nutrition and drinking 2 litres of water a day and hitting that 10,000 step goal, they're losing weight. And it's like, just by doing that alone, you're being more active slightly, the weight's coming off you. I know people that literally just start walking and they restrict the calories a little bit, mindful of eating, and the weight falls off them. It doesn't need to be this hell-bent, you're going in doing... 60-minute Metcons, you're absolutely blasting it out, doing all these mad fancy movements. It's just basic, isn't it?
You've got to earn the right to do them, Metcons.
Exactly, you have.
You can't just rock up and turn up. Like, I won't tomorrow go try run a marathon.
No, exactly.
I just break myself. Like, I might be capable of it, but it just destroy me. I won't. But people see X, Y, and Z on Instagram and like, right, I can do that. I'm going to do it. And then it's like, you've got to earn the right to build yourself up to be able to do that. Otherwise, you're just going down again. You'll just go down one-way spiral, and then you'll be back to square on.
Yeah. I feel like that's the importance of, like you say, having a coach, having that accountability side of it, and all the time. Obviously, coaches are great. Everyone has a coach. I have a coach. You've coached me before. Like, you know what I mean? Luke's a coach before. We coach other people.
Yep.
there's a reason behind it. It's not because we just want to take your money or we want you to join a program and promote us. It's like, it helps massively. For me personally, I could probably program myself to do a fight camp, but I wouldn't. I'd go see you. I'd go, if I was doing something else, I'd go see another coach, because I can't physically. I need that accountability from somewhere else. And you see that with loads of different people. They could be elite sports person. They know all the stuff, but they need that other person above them. And like, do you know what I mean? Check them in.
But sometimes they see something from the outside, don't they? Looking in, and you can kind of see something that maybe when you're in fight camp or whatever, you're not going to see that from an inside perspective.
You're blinkered, aren't you?
Yeah, you're blinkered,
and you can't. It's too much to think about when you've got all this other stuff going on.
Yeah, and as well with the accountability, it almost takes the pressure off you to have to think about writing your own program.
100%, yeah.
And doing it. Like, it's an extra burden, like, oh, is this going to be all right for me? Whereas it's like, right, this person's programmed this for me. I'm going to perform to my best because they're taking the time to help me.
Exactly, yeah.
And accountability is a big one. Like, we'll see January. A lot of people say to me, January's got to be your busiest month. And I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
The reason being is because New Year's resolutions will come along and people will be like, right, I'm going to go join a gym somewhere over there. And it's dead cheap. So I'm going to go there and I'm going to lose all this weight. 3 weeks go by. Don't know really what I'm doing anymore.
Start losing motivation.
Something's really not really working. I'm not accountable to anybody. It's not really I don't have to really pay much for this. I'm not really bothered. I'm just going to go back to where I was.
Yeah, it's easy.
So it's like February, March then becomes a bit busier because these people are like, right. Well, some of them are like, right, I've tried it. I can't do it by myself. I need someone to help. And then they'll go find someone else.
And then you need the structure then, isn't it?
Yeah. If they want to, at the end of the day, you've got to want to get in shape. You've got to want to move well. You've got to want to do it. If you don't, and you're doing it because it's a chore, like I've trained loads of people and they do it because they have to. They do it because I can't really be bothered, but I have to do it.
Yeah.
And then that's better than not doing anything at all, but they've got to like be invested in it. You know, and want to. I think to get fitter and stronger.
I think as well it becomes like a bit of a circle in the sense of if they don't see results, then they get demotivated. But if you don't have that structure there in the first place, then they're not going to see results in the first place.
Yeah, because they don't know what they're doing.
Because they don't know what they're doing. So they just go around in this like vicious circle all the time.
Yeah.
Until you're getting like a coach or someone from an outside perspective that can give them structure, that can give them accountability in that sense. And that's where not everyone does it. Most people won't do it, and they'll do that for years and years and go around. But I think that's really important. Where I know we're going to touch on it a little bit. Where goal setting is a big thing, because if you've got no clear goal. What you're doing in the gym, you just go in there to go to the gym, aren't you?
Yeah.
You just walk through the door. That's
exactly.
it. And people think that's a win. And for some people, it is getting in there. They might do 10 minutes on the treadmill and go home. Right, if they're totally like that's a starting point. They're getting themselves in there. But again, how often are they going to sustain that? Because they're not going to see results. They're going to get demotivated. Which is why I think, no matter what coach you go with, not one size fits all. So you might go a certain coach, you might try that style of training, you might enjoy the exercises, but you might think, right, that's not for me. Again, our program's not for everyone. The style of training might not be for everyone, but they might just find something you enjoy.
Yep.
Then it's going to be a hell of a lot easier. Whole reason why I got into training, fighting, MMA, kickboxing, I tried to go to the gym. I tried doing this bodybuilding crack. I hated it. I just started doing that for something else to do. And I enjoyed it, and that's what stuck. Like, the training was what I enjoyed. That's the whole reason that got me into staying fit for the foreseeable since I started.
Yeah.
Just go try a coach. If you like the look of what they're doing, great. If not, move to a different one. But just keep trying things until you find something you actually enjoy, and then you will probably stick at it. That's just the way it works, isn't it?
I feel a lot of people are too impatient.
100%.
Like, they'll not give it long enough time. Then they'll go like 3 weeks and then be like, I've not lost what I wanted to lose, or I've not gained what I wanted to gain. Because it's not all about weight loss, but like, I've not done what, and it's like, hang on, it's 3 weeks. Like, you've done barely anything.
Yeah,
like, you've got to get the basics in order first, and you've got to give it time. Yeah, all right, 3 months. If you're still not seeing what you want, okay, maybe time to move on change your coach, whatever it might be. But you've got to give it time. We live in this age where it's like everybody's so impatient to get shit done. No one wants to give it time. Like everything's on demand.
Yeah.
You want everything
You want
easy,
something,
Yeah.
you get it, don't
You've
you?
got the tension of a
You
goldfish,
get it.
haven't you?
Yeah.
Everyone now,
I see it with the kids. Like with my kids, and it's like, you know, back in the day, it was like if you wanted to watch, I don't know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you'd have to watch it once a week. You'd have to wait until the next week.
Yeah.
Like now, it's like I'm watching another one. Boom.
Yeah, binge it.
I'm watching another one. Boom, and that has such an effect on a developing mind.
Yeah.
But it's also in our generation and above, like because it's just so easy to get exactly what you want.
Yeah, when you want.
If you want to watch something, you want to eat something, you want to buy something, any clothes, you don't have to go anywhere for it.
It's the lazy generation.
It is.
Yeah. So we want it now,
Mm.
and if it's not working in the next 3 weeks,
People stop.
people stop.
Mm.
That's just the issue. It's just this whole facade and like cloud that covers everything that people just want. They want it, but I feel like people want, and once they start doing it, they realise that the process is the actual best bit.
Yeah.
100%. Like, I can only speak from my experience training. I love fucking training. Fighting's an accessory to that. For me, anyway.
Yeah.
The training's the best bit. That's why I've carried on doing it.
Yeah, because you love
The process is the best. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I love the process of it. I love the
learning.
grind, and I've learnt to love it. I've learnt to love to get. But people will find that in whatever it is they like to do, whatever training style they do, they'll find it eventually.
Yeah.
And then they'll realise that I don't need to be this shape. I don't need to be that way. As long as I'm healthy, I'm moving,
Yeah.
and I'm doing what I enjoy, I can
Yeah.
have the foods that I want and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
The less I've thought about my appearance, the better I now
Yeah.
look.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
You
Isn't
know
it?
what I mean?
It's a big thing. I know me and Ryan have been drilling, and you'll be the same, Matty, in the sense of, I think for people listening, it's people think of the end term goal of like, I want to look good now kind of thing.
Yeah.
But what they forget about is if they set small performance-based goals over time, whether that be over a year's time, they're going to look good anyway, because
Yeah.
if they're constantly improving with the performance side of things, you're just naturally going to improve the way you look, aren't you?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah, it helps mentally not to get fixated on
exactly.
your body as well,
Yeah.
because again, it's
Scales, weight.
100%. It
Yeah.
messes you up.
Yeah.
And like I say, it will happen. And again, not everyone's going to look the same fit.
Mm.
Some UFC fighters don't have abs, but I'm telling you now, they're fit.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, it's just the way
Got
that
Tyson
everyone...
Fury.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. He's like one of the fittest heavyweights about. And like, doesn't look like he's
No.
like, does he? But
No.
it's, again, he's based on what he's capable of, not what he looks
Yeah.
like.
But again, that's what Instagram does, though, isn't it? It's our perception of what fit is, in the sense of, you see Instagram, you see jacked and tanned, and you think that person's fit.
Yeah.
But a bodybuilder isn't necessarily a fit person.
No.
They maybe look good, in the sense, if they look good to some people don't like the way that bodybuilders look, or
Yeah.
if they're really big. But I think we get in with Instagram, it gets into that thing of like, what is fit? Like what is fit?
Yeah.
Not
And
to
I
bash
think-
bodybuilding either, but I can guarantee you now, when they are on stage, they are some of the most unfit people you will ever come across.
And unhappy as well.
And unhappy.
Yeah.
They can't even fucking stand up sometimes.
Yeah.
I've cut weight for fights. I might have a six pack. In that moment, I'm dehydrated. I couldn't run around the fucking block. Not a chance. It's all a facade, I think.
I think what we could take though from bodybuilding is their drive and
it's
determination.
yeah.
Like because
I'm very
to-
disciplined.
discipline. To take yourself to that point of having to do all that. It's, although there's a place for bodybuilding within fitness, but I feel to take yourself that far to get on stage, there's not many more people who can be as disciplined as that.
100%.
And that's something that you can really take from that, I think.
Yeah, the diet side of it is what I've seen people eat.
It's just not sustainable.
No, and that's why unfortunately, a lot of them end up with gut issues and
Yeah.
waking up to eat at 3 a.m. and eating every 2 hours. It's not sustainable. But again, the goal is to look as big as they can
Yeah.
for that 10 minutes on stage. Don't get me wrong, some people have done the thing that I have with bodybuilding, and again, like in sport, it has its place. You've got to build muscle, it protects himself from injuries in contact sports, stuff like that. But the actual sport of bodybuilding, the issue I have it with is how often you're doing that much damage to your body. There's 1% of people that actually benefit from it financially. And I mean,
Yeah.
obviously you can own a
Yeah,
gym,
yeah.
but I mean like the elite Do you know what I mean? You're not being in the top 10 of Mr. Olympia and making millions. And even them that do it don't make millions. You know what I mean? It's like...
You've got to have good genetics as well.
100%.
If you're going to be a bodybuilder, and a lot of people think...
And a good doctor.
I'm going to be a bodybuilder. But if you're not, you've got to have really good genetics. And I think with regards to like modalities of training, like Matty said, I think... it has its place when it comes to building strength. There's a reason why bodybuilding exercises are seen as being great for building strength, but it isn't the only way to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think a good combination of maybe a bit of bodybuilding, maybe a little bit of cardio, sort of cardio aspects there, does a really good work job as well.
It's just blending it all together. Like I say, there's no one size fits all. It's just... See, I do bits of everything now. Whatever I feel like doing, I implement it all. And for a long time, I stayed away from like bodybuilding movements because I had bad shoulders.
Yep.
Yeah.
And genuinely, I remember speaking to you about it, like probably one of the worst things I could have done. In the sense of, I'm not on about sitting down in a chair getting strong, but I mean like try to build the muscles up in my shoulders. Like I just didn't do it because I had bad shoulders. And like there has its place. Do you know what I mean? Injury prevention, stuff like that. So just touching on obviously what I was saying about then, like me not training with for shoulder injuries and stuff. We know that, well, I know, for people that don't know, you had a pretty bad injury, didn't you, Matty, back with your back?
Yep.
Can you just let us know what advice you were given? And again, this is going to touch on to Gen Pop, what advice they might be given and how you overcome it.
Yeah, so first started when I was in the Marines back in 2005, bulged the disc. So disc bulge. Because I was so young, got better without really doing anything, cracked on. Then again in 2010, happened again, another disc bulge. This time it was 2. So from in my lumbar spine, so down the bottom of the back. Again, getting older, but still relatively young, mid-20s, still able just to get better because of the state I was in. And then it happened again in 2012, and this time I was at the time doing CrossFit, not really prepared for what CrossFit brought to the table in terms of like my mentality was like go, like still in that Royal Marine mentality of just bust through a workout. So that's why we love CrossFit so much at that point. I did something as simple as went and picked up a 10 kilo plate and I turned with it. And as I did so, I just heard this almighty like crack. And my mate was walking towards me to get the plates and it stopped him dead because he heard it. And he was like, what was that? And I just couldn't move. I was like frozen in place. And I was like, I don't know. And it was one of the worst pains I've ever felt in my life. And then I got, so this is when I lived out in Australia. So I just left the Marines, actually been out about a year, like not even that. And then I got an MRI out there and it showed 3 disc herniations. So from L3 down to S1, all 3 had just
absolutely
like shot. So I had 3 disc herniations, spinal stenosis, which is like a narrowing of the spinal cord.
Yep.
If that gets too bad, and when you go off and Google this stuff, if that gets too bad, it can potentially paralyze you.
Waist down.
So at this point, and then the doc says, and you've got degenerative disc disease. So I hear potential been paralyzed, and I've got a disease in my back. So that's at 27 years old.
That's crazy.
That's what I'm getting told. And I'm sat there, and I'm like, right, so will I be able to lift again? I didn't even have kids at this point, and the first question that came to me was, can I lift like my kids? And he looked at me, and I'll never forget the kind of look he gave me, and he went, not with your back.
Fuck.
Oh.
And I was like, nah, mate.
Yeah,
that is not happening. I'm not having that. But I've just been told by a doctor, someone who you should be able to trust, never to lift anything again. Something as simple as my children. If I'd have taken that at face value, I wouldn't be here now.
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't.
I don't even know if I'd be on this planet because I was that. Looking back on it, I could never say I was clinically depressed or whatnot. I think I was fucking close to it.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't walk 50 meters without being in crippling pain.
Wow.
and it was a horrific time of my life. And my mates, you know, who I trained with, I would be off in the side room. They'd still be on the gym floor, like gunning it, and I'd just be like trying to do my rehab on a fucking Swiss ball. And
Yeah.
and it was like nothing was working for me. I went to physios, I went to chiros, and like no disrespect to any of them, but nothing was working for me.
Yeah.
People would like put me on tables in traction and pulling me apart. Like it just wasn't working. I was trying everything, right? So there was this thing called the Mackenzie Institute. And I found a Mackenzie Institute practitioner in Brisbane. So this was an hour's flight south of where I lived. So I had to take a day off work. I thought, I've got to try everything, because these guys are seen to be like helping people with bad backs. So I flew down, took a day off work, so I didn't get paid for that. Expense to fly, all that stuff. Got there, and he said, right, okay, tell me your stuff. So I told him. He said, okay, right. So try doing this. Obviously, I won't demonstrate it, but if you can,
Gotta describe it now.
Describe what I'm so standing up next to a chair. Put one foot on the chair, so you got one leg up on the chair, and he says, bend forward. So I bent forward. I was like, yep. He's like, right, keep doing that. And I looked at him and I was like, what? This is going to get me better? And he said, well, it might help relieve the pain. And that was it.
Wow.
I flew back home, like back up north, and I was just like, what have I just been told?
Yeah.
And I was like, there's got to be another way. Like, what is that? Why have people been told this? And then I found there's a online magazine called Breaking Muscle.
Yep.
And I used to read it quite often. And I had friends who wrote in it as well. And I found a guy called Andrew Locke. Googled him, powerlifter, giant of a man, absolutely huge. And I thought he was in Australia, and I thought, right, I need to get in touch with him. So I rang him. He said he'd speak to me, so I rang him up, and he said, I said, right, I'm doing everything I can. I'm doing yoga, I'm doing Pilates, doing all this stuff. He said, right, I'll stop you there. You've got to stop doing that. He said, are you deadlifting? And I was like, no. I've got 3 disc herniations, 2 deadlifts with a broken spine. And he was like, you need to start deadlifting. And I was like,
crazy.
At this point, I'm like, what?
All
this conflict of interest, like what? How? And he says, you've got to learn to breathe properly. You've got to learn to brace properly. You've got to learn to hinge properly. And once you've started deadlifting, you will start getting better. And at this point, I'm like, nah, mate.
You're not trying.
But at this point, I'm like, I've got to try it.
Yeah, you're at that end point, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm literally like, what else can I do? So I stumbled across as well a book. So at the same time, I've found Andrew Locke, a guy called Stuart McGill, and a guy called Naudi Aguilar. And Stuart McGill,
it's big 3, isn't it?
Yeah. So what he's probably forgotten about the back, we'll never know as much as him. Do you know what I mean? Like this man is just an utter subject matter expert.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
And I found his book called Low Back Disorders, and this was 2013 now, and I'm reading this book on holiday in New Zealand. And again, I couldn't enjoy New Zealand because of how much pain I was in. Yeah, like I could barely like move. And I started reading it, and this was written for the medical practitioner. So everything I was reading, I had to Google because I don't understand it. And then I started to learn so much about the spine and how it moved, and then the body. And then I found Naudi Aguilar, who was a bit of a dick, really.
Functional patterns.
Yes, he just shits over everything else other than his own stuff. Yeah. But the stuff he does know about is quite unbelievable.
Good. Yeah,
unbelievable. So I started learning about my posture, how I was carrying myself. I started learning about deadlifting and bracing and breathing, and all this stuff started to come into it. And I found, fucking hell, I can walk again now, like without being in pain. Now I can start lifting again. I'm moving better. I'm more flexible. I'm more mobile. And then fast forward like 2 years, and now I'm open the gym. At that point now where I first met you, I was still like still
It's
Can I-
different, yeah.
I know now what I'm doing, and I think it was they talk about injury being a gift sometimes, because it can make you reevaluate what you're doing
Yeah.
and how you can progress forward. And I think for me, if I never had that injury, I wouldn't have been able to help the amount of people that I've helped
Yeah, exactly.
through injury,
Yeah.
because I've been through it myself, and I
Yeah.
know just how hard mentally it is.
Yeah.
And you've done the research as well, though,
And
which
I've-
makes a big
Yeah,
difference.
I've read and I've read and I've read, because if you get told to do something and you just go away and do it, I find you'll never really commit to it. Whereas if you educate yourself on it and you start to learn about what you're actually doing
Yeah, the reasons why.
and
Yeah.
the reasons why. And for me, I go back to earlier when I said about my kids, getting them out of danger. For me now, I've got 3 girls, 8, 6 and 2. Every day I'll roll about on the floor with them,
Yeah.
and I'll throw them up in the air, and I'll catch them, and I'll do all that stuff. And I see that as like a gift.
Yeah, 100%.
I cherish it so much,
Yeah.
because I know 10 years ago, 11 years
That
ago,
wasn't possible.
that lad there wouldn't have been able to do it.
That's crazy,
Yeah.
isn't it?
I look back at pictures of me when I was in the Marines still,
Yeah.
and right now I would absolutely destroy him at anything.
Really?
Any physical
Yeah.
task you told me to do.
All these years later as
I
well.
would-
It's
yeah.
crazy.
And that's it. I'm, approaching 40, and I just destroy him.
Fittest you've ever been.
Yeah.
Wow. It's crazy, isn't it, that the advice you got offered.
But it shows what you can get, like the advice wise, and
Yeah.
you can't always trust professionals, and you've always got to, I think, take certain things with a pinch of salt, in the sense of you've got to go away and get different opinions first, which is what you did, but also do a bit of research yourself, try and understand the injury, understand why you're feeling like you are.
Yeah.
In that sense.
You've got to question it.
Yeah.
You've got to question it. And I wish I could go back and find that doctor and tell him,
Yeah.
you need
It's
to
crazy.
stop. You need to stop telling people to do that, bro, because
Yeah.
it's the wrong thing to do.
I feel like as well, like, was he a surgeon?
No, he was
No.
just a straight up,
A
like
specialist.
I guess, Australian GP type
because,
thing.
Yeah, because I remember
Yeah.
I've seen like a few specialists because of my shoulders.
Mm.
And again, props to you for this, but you might not remember this, but we spoke about it when we did a few imbalances with myself.
Yeah.
No one had ever addressed why my shoulders were probably weak, and I've got flat feet,
Mm.
and my feet turning, my knees turning, and I'm naturally just rolled over.
Hunched
From the
over.
ground up, I'm
Yeah.
like this, and I've been like that for years. And I was like, surely I can't be that unlucky just to have. And the specialists were like, your shoulders are just like that. And I'm like, well, why the fuck are they like that? Like, there's a reason why it keeps happening.
It's quite common,
And
that
then
though, isn't it?
It was, but I'd never looked at it from a point
Yeah.
of like, I'm not stood upright. My back's not, everything's not, the stuff compensates.
You're
So I'm
rounded.
rounded.
Yeah.
All these muscles that should pull my rotator cuff and my scapula back aren't working. So I'm naturally in a position where everything's strained and I'm weak. I was weak. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Upper back was weak.
Yeah, I was weak, and I
Strong
never
in places,
addressed it.
but weak,
Yeah.
very weak.
Yeah,
in
and I was
others,
like, when I looked at myself in the mirror, I was constantly curled like that.
Yeah. But I think that's so common in general pop, isn't it? Because
100%, yeah.
everyone trains the muscles that you see in the mirror. So it's usually chest. You're doing a lot of chest work, a lot of triceps, a lot of biceps, and your back gets neglected. So it's crazy in that sense.
I think as well, those muscles get overworked in daily life too, because everything's here. But also now with phones. Now you might think, oh, well, it's just a phone. But when you see someone walking down the street and their head is down here, these muscles are all lengthened, these are all shortened.
Exactly.
And then when they're trying to bring everything back up again, it might it's not heavy, your head's heavy, and that can cause major issues down the chain, up or down the chain. Yet we're not seeing it. Like, people don't see that.
No.
And they don't think, well, I'm only at a desk, how can that be bad? Liam Conroy, his wrist. So during his kind of like run up to the British title, he's having major problems with his wrist because of how he was sat behind his desk.
Office job.
So we got him to change and go to more of a joystick mouse.
It's crazy.
And that was much better for his right hand.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if his wrist, you see when you're on a keyboard, it's slightly off kilter.
Yeah.
It's not a natural position to be in.
And if you're there for 8 hours a day or whatever,
8 hours a day, it mounts
it's not good, is it?
Yeah, it's like when you look at it, like, for the past probably, 100 years, humans have sat down like that. Before that, the majority of the time we've all been stood up moving around. Our
Yeah.
resting position was
Yeah.
a deep squat, whatever. It's not natural for us to be doing that. And then everyone's like, yeah, but you're working 8 hours a day. It's normal. It's not fucking normal.
No.
It is not normal by any
No.
stretch of the imagination to get up. Everyone was stood upright. Some people can't even stand up for that long.
Yeah.
No,
Like, it's like, I need to sit down. It's like, fucking hell. People used to fucking stand up for days.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
go do marathons a day.
Yeah, it's just
walking.
crazy. It's so natural for us to do that. And then, like you say, you wonder why all the imbalances from the shoes you wear to the
Well, shoes are massive as well, aren't they?
the
A big
things you
part of
walk
it.
on. Like,
Everything's about comfort.
Yeah.
So when
100%.
someone goes and buys a set of shoes, it's usually a few things. So you look at them and think, do I like the look of them? Number one.
Yeah.
Number two is the cost.
Yeah.
Number three is, do they feel comfy? So that comfort, we've been kind of led down this path of by Nike, by Adidas, by all these shoe companies about having a nice springy heel.
Springy heel, yeah.
So you can then run off your heel. Well, if I take your shoes off you now and say run around this block as fast as you can, you ain't fucking touching your heel
Nah.
when you run.
yeah.
Nah.
You are not running on your heel
Nah.
at all. And that bringing that foot forward and the heel landing, the heel strike is just sending and that's how I used to run in boots.
Yeah.
Obviously in the Marines I had to run in boots. And because you got too much weight on your back, you're compounding misery through the chain, through the ankle,
Firing
knee,
energy right
hip,
through your back and your hips.
all the way in the wrong
yeah.
places
Yeah.
because you're landing on your heel. We need to change our gait, and that the gait which has evolved over millions of years is just getting trashed in the last 50
Getting
years.
absolutely battered, isn't it?
Destroyed.
Crazy, isn't it? How quickly you can ruin like a biological thing that we've been.
Our biomechanics is
how,
awful.
It's just how quickly it's getting ruined.
And it's
fucking
like
mad.
Look at have you seen Wall-E?
Yeah.
And you know the Disney thing.
All right, yeah, the robot.
What they end up looking like. Well, we're going there.
Yeah, we're all going around in like mobility scooters.
We're absolutely going there.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
telling
right.
you.
We'll be
Might
like-
not be in our lifetime, but we will be there.
We're like cyborgs, what we?
Oh,
Phones
100%.
stuck to your chest and just fucking like that all the
Yeah.
time in a wheelchair. It will be.
Madness,
You don't need to do anything. It's crazy. Like
You might think, all right, bit far fetched, but I'm telling you.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
how
You can
many
see
people?
it.
We're like lucky. We're in a bit of an echo chamber where a lot of our friends are fit, and a lot of things we see. It's all about people being fit, and we talked a bit about Instagram, and we always see what we're almost like trying not to achieve, but like you're in that echo chamber.
yeah,
How many people now? We're in a tiny minority of people who are actually fit and able.
Yeah.
The vast majority of people
Um,
aren't.
yeah. It's crazy when you think about it like that.
Yeah,
They're
it's
not.
mental.
The zombies come, mate. We're all fucked.
Well, we're not.
No,
Yeah,
we'll be all right.
We can run. We'll be all right.
As long as we're faster than the next man.
Yeah,
it's all right, innit?
yeah.
It is interesting though when you think about it like that you are in a minority.
Yeah.
Like people, as like we all run, so we could probably blast through a 5k. But the vast majority of people that can't do that,
Yeah.
it's a massive thing for someone
Yeah.
to run 3 miles.
Yeah.
It's huge, but no one can. A lot
And
of people can't walk
even
it.
the thought of someone running 5k, if
It's
they're a
huge.
beginner,
Yeah.
5k. If I said to you, right, let's go for a 5k, be like, all right,
Yeah.
let's go. That might send them in like fight or flight mode.
Yeah.
5k, I can't do
Yeah.
that. Fucking hell, you should be able to.
No.
If you can't,
Yeah.
we've got to start working towards
Exactly.
it.
And that's a big part as well, is like what you've just said, is you start working towards it.
Yeah.
A lot of people go, oh, I'm going to go and run a 5K. Never ran in their life.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and run a 5K.
Yeah.
And then wonder the next day why they can't get out of bed.
Yeah.
Because they're absolutely beat up to hell.
Yeah.
And
then that gives them a negative
course it
thought
does.
process of, well,
yeah, I
exercise
can't
is
run
bad
then.
for me.
Yeah, it's bad for me. I can't run.
Yeah.
My joints are hurting.
And
your back's hurting.
That was me for years. I didn't run until I started high rocks.
I remember that, because we used to speak about running a lot, didn't we?
I was like,
Yeah.
nah,
Hate running.
you don't need
But
to
to be
run,
fair
mate.
though, what you said was correct. Is like some people don't need to run because depending on what your goal is, like
Yeah.
there's other ways to get fit. You're pounding
Yeah.
the pavement,
Yeah.
rocking
Yeah.
your joints, your knees. Like some fighters don't run at all.
No,
Some run all the time.
You can bike. Or
It's crazy. It's like
different ways of.
so. But obviously, you started running, and when you started running properly, you taught how to run properly.
Yeah,
Mm.
I had
It's a
to
different
change
ballgame.
my gait completely, which is pretty tough
Yeah, I
Yeah.
bet.
to change.
Oh, 100%.
Because a lot of the time, when I'm running, my actual foot pattern and my gait, I'm fast walking really because I'm using my heel. Like, do you know what I mean? It's not really when I'm jogging, I'm just It's not really a run, is it?
No.
Do you know what I mean? When I'm running, my pattern is just jogging.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen the guy who fast walked a 5K?
Yeah, I seen it the other day.
17 minutes. Crazy.
Madness.
But that's what
Surely I can run faster
I
than
know.
that. I can't get that.
It's wild.
Can't get anywhere
he
near it.
says it's faster. His fast walk 5K is faster than his run.
He just
I don't know how.
He's just perfected his game.
Yeah, I don't.
He?
But it just blew my mind when I seen it.
Yeah.
Just this guy striding around the track, you know what I mean?
Hips moving like
it's
left to right.
Crazy, mate. It's crazy,
Yeah.
but it just shows you.
Yeah, I think like companies like Vivo Barefoot and things like that are changing the game in the sense of showing that we are, like, especially when it comes to footwear and things like that, is we need to change the way that we're looking at footwear. Don't get me wrong, Nike running shoes like Vaporflies have the place in the market, and they will give you performance benefits. And if you are really struggling with sort of, like you're saying, heel striking, especially setting someone off on a pair of Vivo bare feet and go and run a mile, no one's going to be able to do it.
I've tried it, mate.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
That was my mistake.
Ankles are absolutely battered, knees are knackered. But it shows that we aren't running properly and we aren't walking properly. And then from that you can learn and be like, well, actually, if I put my foot this way, you know, start lifting my knee higher, you know, certain things with your gait, you can start changing little small things with it and change it that way. But
I went camping once with my mates, and I was like, we got to Coniston and we was going wild camping around there. I was like, right, hang on, lads, I'll just get my boots out of the boot, my hiking boots out of the boot. Left them, and I was like, where are my boots? I only had my Merrell barefoot trainers to carry all my kit, and like I was thinking my feet are going to be trashed, but because I'd built up that tolerance to work in barefoot shoes, and my ankles were strong, like I could, you know, hike in those Merrell. I wouldn't advise it for anybody, but I felt every single stone going up on them.
100%.
But with some people, I think I've got a couple of gym members who will walk up Coniston Man in bare feet, completely bare feet.
Madness.
Crazy.
But it just shows you, you know, we didn't evolve with shoes on.
No.
You've just got to build that tolerance to be able to do it.
Yeah. I ran a 5K barefoot in Cornwall about 2 years ago. I got stress fracture in my foot on the beach. I don't know why I did it. Still to this day, I don't know why I did it.
I remember you doing that, actually. Yeah, I remember you saying.
It was the coolest decision of my life. And I got back and I was like, I realised how weak as piss I am, mate. Like, that is shocking. Yeah. But because we don't do it.
It humbles you though, doesn't it?
It
humbles you. It shows you how much shoes we do rely on shoes and how much effect they do have further up the body. But I remember doing Keswick to Barrow a couple of years ago, and I stupidly didn't do. I do a lot of hiking and fell walking, and I was only walking it. I wasn't running it or anything. And I stupidly was like, oh, I'll just do it. I'll wing it. I'll do it on the day. So I did Keswick to Barrow. Got to about Coniston, so 20 miles in. I changed my trainers. I got brand new trainers for it, one and maybe 2 or 3 times. I had tendonitis, the worst tendonitis in my feet. And I think it's probably one of the hardest things. The last 20 miles that I had to do was just like, I did the hardest marathon in the Langdale Marathon earlier this year. No, it wasn't. Sorry, last year. And that was easier than how I found the Keswick to Barrow just walking it. And it was all purely because my piss poor preparation and picking the wrong shoes and not doing any training like we were saying before. And it just shows that you can be fit, but if you don't put the work in and do the training and condition your feet, condition everything that needs to be conditioned, your body breaks down and you're absolutely knackered, aren't you?
Yeah, it's like you say, it's like being fit for the purpose of what you're doing.
Exactly,
like,
you've got to be specific, haven't you?
Yeah, you could be fit in one aspect, but I used to think I was fit, and then I remember when I started running during COVID, and I could not run. Yeah. Honestly, I thought I could do it easy, just couldn't. But then, just not used to doing it.
Well, we put you on the pads for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I felt fine.
You coast it.
Different.
Yeah.
Put me on the pads.
It's crazy.
Dead in like 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's weird.
Completely different.
Yeah, you can't be unless you're like, some people can, but you can't really be a blanket fit for everything, can you?
No, I think that's where, I think with training, I think you'll do it, with Matty will do it, and we do it, is I think when you're doing a workout or a training block, is you've got to be specific with what are you wanting to get out from that workout, and be specific about it. I think that's the only thing I find sometimes with like CrossFit style things, is it's like, what's your goal? What are you trying to improve with regards to? Are you trying to build strength? Are you trying to build hypertrophy? Are you trying to get fitter in this aspect? And obviously you can do that over the week in different sessions, but it's like, I think sometimes people will be like, oh, I'm going to do a strength workout today, and then they'll go and bang on like 20-30 minute run at the end of it. And it's like you're making too many stimuluses for your body, and it's like what stimulus are you trying to make? Are you trying to get stronger, or are you trying to get fitter?
And separate them at least.
There's so many different aspects, isn't there, with regards to your training? And
I think that's now called concurrent training, something that it's starting as the very niche at the moment, the hybrid-y type stuff. And people want to, deadlift 500 kilo and then run a sub 15 minute 5k. That's something stupid like that, but it's doable.
It is,
but you've got to be able to recover just as well as and plan it properly.
It's the programming, isn't it?
Yeah. So there is studies out there saying that we can achieve X and Y at the same time, but it's very limited, and unless you're doing
it's not optimal, is it though? Is it? Either you can do both, but your body can only sort of create a stimulus to one or the other, really. Or you're going to be suboptimal in that sense, isn't it?
It's a hard way to look at it though. It's like, it's impressive what they do, but the stress that must have on your body, like to go into it hell-bent straight away. Can't imagine how hard it is. You see people deadlifting 250 kg, then they're doing a marathon. It's like, wow, like how are you coping to do that, or doing like sets with it? It's mad. But again, that's the importance of programming and having a coach that knows what they're doing.
And they won't be doing those when they're doing the training. They won't be doing those at the same time.
No, of course not.
You're separating, and then that's where I think why it's cool that CrossFit does it so completely different, in the sense of you're blending everything together. But when they're programming it, I'm guessing that I'm not massively into CrossFit in the sense of I don't do much of it, but I'm guessing there's specific goals in that workout with regards to what it is you're doing in that sense. I don't know if you're more into that side of things, Matty.
Not so much CrossFit.
No.
I think many people know my...
I do.
I know, well, when I said CrossFit, I meant more like with regards to your high rocks is as close as you get to CrossFit kind of stuff. But.
It's... So it can be done really well, and I think what's happened with CrossFit, I got into CrossFit back in 2008, like one of the early adopters of it, kind of through the military, and it was the whole sport of CrossFit wasn't really going yet. It was a little bit, but not much. And then now I feel that people try and reach to be the Tia Claire Toomeys or the Matt Frasers, and people's road into CrossFit is through the sport of it, whereas the methodology behind it is completely different. So what Greg Glassman first initially said about it being using it for that way, it's now like, well, no, I want to walk on my hands and then climb a rope, and then I want to snatch 100 kilo 20 times over my head. I want to do it all now. Well, you can't, mate. You've got to take a step back. You can't do that. So, CrossFit done well will teach a new beginner how to move well. How to learn to move, to get strong, to eat well. So that
in different disciplines as well, isn't it?
But I think that people get drawn into the sexiness of CrossFit. Those absolute animals, let's face it, like they're unreal people. Again,
we're going back to the top 2% again.
A lot of them have, like, Matt Fraser, for example, come from an Olympic lifting background. He's done that for years, years and years. So a lot of their movement patterns, he's nailed down. He's sound with them. So when he moved into CrossFit, he was probably then becoming hybrid before it was hybrid. Do you know what I mean? He was doing that shit, but not everyone, like you say, not everyone can do that. We're just trying to go in, like, Olympic lifting in itself is fucking hard.
Hard work. To
just do that, and then tomorrow we're going to do, like you say, all these different things and crazy handstand walks, gymnastics. It's like they deserve the respect of time, just block on their own. Do you know what I mean? They're that intense.
Just being able to do a strict pull up. Most people will see butterfly pull ups. I need to be able to do that. I need to be able to do that. Well, how can you do a strict pull up first? Well, not how many can you do? One, but I can do 20 butterfly pull ups. Okay, what's that doing to your shoulders? Like, you're not strong enough yet to be able to. You've not earned the right yet to do butterfly pull ups. Done right, I don't think there's much wrong with them. However, most people try and run before they can walk.
Of course, 100%. It's like going back to that the 5K analogy before is that you try and they want to do a 5K now rather than building up to that 5K. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah, it's one of them, innit? It's got to be coached well. It's got to be coached well.
So just to sort of wrap this up, mate, what have we got coming up in the next competition wise?
Whoa.
So for yourself,
Saturday, High Rocks.
This Saturday.
Yep.
Oh wow, mate! I didn't realise you got you on so close. That's
Manchester. So ready for that. I'm doing the pro division on Saturday night, and then I'm doing it with the wife. Me and Vicky are doing it on Saturday.
I see you doing double whammy.
Yeah.
Oh mate, class.
Yeah.
Beast.
We'll see what clip I'm in on Sunday to do it. I'm hoping she don't go too fast. And then we've got the hybrid fitness games.
Quality.
So the ones that we're hosting up at the gym, you have to get some people involved in that.
Yeah, well, me and Luke ourselves, when I'm home for work, I keep saying to Matty, I'm going to do High Rocks, but you laughed at me last time I said it, didn't you? But I will do it at some point. But I do want to.
Not that you couldn't not do it.
No, I just
not laughing at you.
I'm one of them, innit? It's like I always say I'm going to do stuff,
Yeah.
but life gets in the way. But yeah, we wouldn't mind doing stuff like that.
I think we definitely will do the hybrid, won't we?
Yeah, and we'll get some people in it. Hopefully, off the programme, get Pete represented there.
Yeah, definitely. We had quite a big turnout last time from teams all over the northwest, Nottingham, Scotland. Crazy. Yeah, it was amazing. Quite a lot of them are returning. We might even have to open up another bracket because there's quite a bit of turnout for it. So that's getting bigger. That'll be in early April, and then I've got Malaga, I think the weekend after, High Rocks again.
Nice.
Busy, mate.
But hopefully qualified for Worlds next Saturday.
Right,
Good luck.
Keep an eye out. We'll definitely be keeping a watch, mate. But thanks for the conversation today, lads. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully we can get you back on, Matt, next time in the near future. See how we get on at High Rocks and discuss more of the same stuff.
Anytime, and so much we can cover.
Yeah, there is, mate. We could have done this in 2 or 3 hours. Once we've got, we'll be getting more. For people that listen, we are going to be getting more guests on, more conversations, more topics. So there'll be a lot of this all over socials. So if you like what you're seeing, obviously like it, share it. Big props to the Coast Road lads as well, always on hand to give us a hand producing, so we appreciate that. But yeah, nice one guys, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.